Latest on Trump tariffs. Steve Gill joins us. He's a former advisor to both Clinton and Bush Jr. administrations. Very good morning to you, Steve.
Hey, Julie, good morning.
I'm sorry, time is short because we've had such a busy show. There's so much to talk about here. My God, you're never short of stories in America as well. Donald Trump, after a massive climb down, many are saying, when it comes to tech imports from China, the mobile phones, laptops, other computer and tech gadgets, which had otherwise been facing a 125% import tax. He climbed down on that, no tax, no tariffs on those. But he insisted yesterday there'll be no more exemptions in the tariffs. And he said absolutely nobody, he says, is getting off the hook for the unfair trade balances. What does he mean by that?
I think he's also said that there are going to be different pools of products that are given different tariff levels, which is interesting because there's been this sort of overall blanket number that's been applied both with respect to the EU, with respect to other countries. I think the other thing is that the pause that is getting so much attention, and the EU has now said they're going to pause tariffs to give time for things to work out, is you have about 100 countries that have said, yeah, we want to negotiate. These are very complicated deals. You can't just do it very quickly. So it does take time to put pen to paper and work out the details. So I don't think this pause means that Trump is backing off or that the EU is backing off.
Would it have been a good idea to do the detail and do this a bit slower before the announcement of the tariffs?
No, I'll tell you that, Julia, as a lawyer, you never actually strike a deal until you're on the courthouse steps. So there wouldn't have been this movement by countries saying, okay, yeah, we'll reduce our tariffs to something reasonable and reciprocity had they were not facing execution day and liberation day, as Trump called it. So you have to take the step to get people to actually negotiate in reality.
Well, you say Liberation Day or Execution Day, but actually, it's the American consumers that were going to be upset when it comes to, say, the iPhone. And we know there's been massive lobbying by his big tech bros. I mean, they were sitting in front of the cabinet at his inauguration. We know how much contact he has with them. But basically, pointing out that the cost of an iPhone was going to be $3,000 in a few weeks' time because of the massive import duties. Basically, that wasn't going to fly with Trump voters, was it? So basically, he was forced to pipe down and back down. But the reality is, anyone could have told him that 80% of those sort of electronic goods come from China, and putting a 125% tariff on Chinese goods would do that. So is it possible that no one thought this through?
Well, I think you have to take these steps. I mean, most of our pharmaceuticals come from China. We're just going to keep letting them provide the necessary drugs we need, the electronics. You have to move these not only to U.S. manufacturing, but to other more friendly manufacturers. And we were already seeing these plants and facilities move from China to Vietnam.
Hold on a minute. Those are two different things. Moving your manufacturing to India or Vietnam or Malaysia, I think absolutely makes sense as less hostile, dangerous nations than China. I get that. However, moving those factories to the U.S., completely different matter. But if you move them to the U.S., they will cost more.
But you also have shoe manufacturers, tennis shoe manufacturers that are still in that $100 to $150 range that Nike charges for shoes made in China. So it is possible to make things in the U.S. and not have this astronomical price that the hysterics on the left and in the media are touting. Again, American-made New Balance shoes are not that expensive, although Nike shoes are being charged at that same rate, even though they're being made for, what, $3 an hour in China.
Well, why didn't they set their factory up in America in the first place then? And you know why? Because the costs are so cheap. Yeah, but the labour costs aren't going to change, are they? The ratio of labour costs in a Southeast Asian country, whether it's China or Malaysia or India, compared to in Milwaukee, they're still going to have that disparity.
Well, first of all, you are having a shoe sold by New Balance. It's about $150. Nike's doing the same thing. The difference is Nike can make a much more dramatically huge profit. Yeah. The same way if you have these
it's what private companies do. So wait a minute, are you telling me Donald Trump's against profit now?
No, but there is a difference in profit that is fair and reasonable, like New Balance is getting, making shoes and creating jobs in the US.
How much profit should Elon Musk make, do you think?
I think you can make whatever profit you make as long as you're playing fair. And keep in mind that China has never played fair. When you have a product that you take to China, you're going to see it stolen, the intellectual property stolen, and you'll be competing with that product immediately. They have violated that. In China, and again, Trump is talking about tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade. If I've got a truckload of vegetables that are being met at the border with like a 2-week, 3-week delay, so it rots. About the third time that happens, I stop exporting my agriculture products. So there's a lot of other areas of this trade balance that is unfair, and Trump's exposing that as well as just the taxes.
Do you think, I mean, literally one sentence, if you could, I'd be very kind of you. Do you think these tariffs are all going to go away and the deals are going to be done, or do you think they're going to stick and then you're going to have everyone on shrink? But again, you can't have both.
I think they're moving very, very quickly. I think, again, the EU, which was saying adamantly no, is now at the table. You're seeing countries like India, like Vietnam and others move to zero tariffs. That parity of tariffs that has been unfair for so long is coming. It'll take a little while, but I think by the end of this 90-day pause, we're going to see dramatic reduction of tariffs on U.S. products.
It's going to be fascinating to watch. Steve Gill, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to talk to you.